How's it going, YouTube? It's Panda time. We're back from Gen Con, where we both did really well. I ended up getting 5th place with the MetalGarurumon, and Beck got 4th place with the Wargreymon. We figured it'd be a good time to show you guys how the deck play against each other. I also have deck profiles for both of these in the channel already, so definitely do check those out. We're going to be starting off going into the champions early on, going with the draw Gabu on my side and the plus DP Greymon on her side. Also going to set up the tie to ensure the extra memory and extra check for when the level 6 is there. So I go into a Garuru X and start swinging, and this is a clear tell that I don't have the correct line, and this happens all the time with the Garuru deck, where you're not always going to have the perfect line when you start the game. And just because you don't have the perfect line doesn't mean that you have to sit in the back and just be scared. We can promote, still get card draw and damage, and be in a good spot. Ideally, this first stack is going to push some damage, and then our second stack might be better, and then that one can be the one that closes out the game, because we have so many scattered attacks, right? She's going to use Cool Boy, and then just keep setting up in the back, finding MetalGarurumon. We're going to just cash in on all the card draw that we have, but we do swing into a Blitz Omni, which is unfortunate. We have a nice way to spend our turn going into Garuru and then using the memory boost to pass over 3, which we can then use to pick up either the level 5 or the Garuru X, whichever one we were missing. Losing the MetalGarurumon to the Omni definitely hurts so much. It would be an additional check next turn, additional card draw. It makes a massive difference not having that for sure. She can Digivolve into the MetalGarurumon X and then tap the Cool Boy to get the extra memory, getting all the effects, and this is exactly where the Wargreymon deck wants to be, right? Now has a really strong stack, gonna be swinging for 3 checks using the Wargrey effect to get that extra memory every time we lose, but obviously because of the Ice Wall we still gain 2. But you can see how the Wargreymon X sort of like negated the Ice Wall anyway, right? Instead of passing turn, she gets to continue, and then memory chokes to 2, which is pretty good. Gonna just set up an Agu to pass turn. At this point, with the right stack, we could potentially win the game on the spot. We're gonna be swinging with the Garurumon, just looking for card draw. Again, a sign that we just do not have the right stack yet. Gonna go into the X to restand. We don't have the Wargreymon or the Saw, so we don't get to bounce the Agumon, sadly. And it's actually a huge deal, because while we can continue our aggression, we can try and go into the MetalGarurumon X, but going to the Garurumon is going to cost 1 because we have so much card draw. And then we can then go into the Metal X, which would bounce the Wargreymon, except that she has the Agumon, so it's going to be the Agumon being bounced instead, right? So you can see how big of a difference it makes, the fact that we A, didn't have the sauce, and B, didn't have the correct wear to allow us to bounce the Agumon. With this line of play, the Wargreymon gets to survive and live another day, which is terrible for us because we could try and block, but the end of attack from the Greymon is going to clear the Garurumon anyway, right? So some unfortunate things, we just didn't have the correct line. We're able to push out and make the best with what we had, you know, get all the card draw that we could, but that extra Gabumon actually made a huge difference. This Wargreymon X is still pretty scary. It does have 2 checks from the tie. Gonna be swinging, getting card draw. We can block to at least prevent the damage, but the end of attack effect is going to clear our stack. So we're gonna once again have to start and rebuild from scratch. There's 2 Metal X we go into and 2 that get cleaned up. At this point, it's gonna take us a while to get to where we need to be, and I think that if she just does a good job of memory choking us, she should be good to win this game. Ideally, putting me to 1 instead of 2 makes a massive difference here. She might not have a way to do that though, so we're gonna just keep setting up and make sure that next turn she's gonna have game, setting up the Agumon to ensure multiple bodies on the board. At this point, we just don't really have an answer. We can't Kata's Breath the Wargrey because he could save itself. We can't do much to clear the Agumon either. So we actually have to Kata's the Agumon, hoping that this would somehow be good enough, but the reality is that there's nothing we could do at this point to save us. The Wargrey X has 2 checks, can go into a MetalGarurumon, use that. And then Wargrey can swing, and that's gonna be game. So we didn't have the greatest stack, and the one play that I did got answered by the Blitz on the insecurity. The Wargreymon had a pretty good line, and you can see how he can use the effect to negate the memory gain from like our security effects, and use the end of attack to clear our board. Actually really strong stuff. Now she's gonna go first, starting with the Gabu or the Agu X, and then just set up the tie. You know, solid memory gains. We're going to memory boost to pick up a Gabumon because we definitely did not have a rookie to start with. Still pretty reasonable. We can now start building in the back and use the Garurumon, although we cannot memory choke because of the tie, right? So opening with the memory tamer in turn 1, pretty solid stuff. A lot of the decks in BT9 are just very piece reliant. You want to get your line right away, and some decks are okay to just sit in the back and wait for the perfect line, and others not so much. Gonna be hard dropping the MetalGarurumon with no level 4 inside. With the right line, we could definitely punish this play. We're gonna go into the wear, swing, draw, restand. Gonna survive because of extra DP inheritables. We can then go into the X, get the restand, and keep getting more card draw. We have to use the inheritable to save ourselves, but that's fine because we can. And then we can equip the sauce to let us go into the MetalGarurumon X to then balance the MetalGarurumon. And at this point, I think the game is pretty much over, right? Hard dropping level 5 there could have been okay, you know, if I wasn't able to clear it. She would have had 3 memory next turn to guarantee a level 6 and then go from there. But because we had the sauce, we actually did have a good answer to it. We were able to push quite a bit of damage. Our MetalGarurumon's still alive. We still have memory boost to work with. And now we can start building again to ensure that our next stack could definitely win the game. We swing for 2 checks into a Cool Boy, which at this point is not really too bad. It definitely is going to help her out though. Cool Boy picking up the Greymon X to ensure some good plays. We're going to just set up Davis to make sure we have memory for next turn. And then just set up an Ice Wall just in case she might have a solid play. And the Ice Wall could potentially make a difference, right? You can see how she can go from level 4 to level 6 right away, thanks to the Cool Boy and the memory boost, giving her essentially an extra 3 memory on the turn. Pretty solid stuff. It's a good way that the red Greymon deck operates here, since your level 6s are so important and you have to essentially pay 6 to get to them, right? Gonna go into the Piercing Greymon and then go over with the MetalGarurumon X to now get a bunch of DP, Security Attack Plus, and Piercing, because we have to use their protection against her security. The MetalGarurumon should be pretty good to swing over the MetalGarurumon here. Ice Wall is in effect though, so if she swings, it's gonna have to pass a return. Should I calculate her memory? There's maybe no clean way to go into a Wargreymon X, right? Just a little bit shy. Could Digivolve into the other Wargreymon, but then it's still gonna pass a return no matter what. Contemplating, you know, what the answer is. Maybe she didn't have the sauce, which would be a good answer. Gonna swing, but it is gonna pass over the turn with Ice Wall. Gonna check for 3 security. Metal Storm gets checked, but she can use the inheritable to save herself, which is pretty good. Although this one doesn't matter because she doesn't have a blocker and we have a Gabumon in the back, right? There's gonna be 3 checks because of the tie. But then on my turn, we can just use the Gabu to swing for security. And that's gonna be game 2. Going into game 3 here. We're going to be starting off with that pre-release Cinnamon into the Gabu X. And once again, the draw Garuru. So far, so good. If we have the Garuru X and the Wear, you know, we would have the Dream stack. Going to be seeing the +1 security Greymon on the other side. And there's the Greymon X. Definitely off to a good start. Going to then use the Spaghetti Boost to pick up the level 5 that she was clearly missing. The memory boosts are just so good, so crucial. So we do have the Wear, but we don't have the protection. It is a little bit risky, but again, you know, we need the card draw, we need to push for damage. And you just can't be scared with this type of deck. We survive 2 checks, get quite a bit of card draw, but we don't have the Wargreymon X or anything like that. So essentially, Wargreymon is just going to die. We're going to just set up a Davis to make sure we have pieces and memory for the next stack, right? If she doesn't have the Piercing, we might be okay. She definitely has to just punch over the Wear. So in this case, it'd be okay, right? Like if she spends her turn and her security checks, just punching over the Wear, while we build in the back and try and set up another good stack to close the game out. It's good, right? You can see how the Wear, even without a perfect stack, can be good to push for damage. However, because of the sauce, That's going to change everything, and she can now swing at security, go into the Wargrey X, and then end of attack and clear my Wargreymon, right? So it should be, I believe, 3 checks. Each one's going to gain a memory, way over 12k DP, and then clears my stack. So because of the sauce into the Wargrey X, the game changes dramatically there, right? Now instead of having 5 checks, I only have 2 security left, and we've lost our stack, obviously. So while I have, you know, Davis, and we can try and rebuild in the back, the game is essentially over here, right? As the Wargrey X is free to swing next turn, and we can't really stop it. Once again, we cannot kick out his red to Wargreymon X because of protection. And I don't have a good way to enter the Greymon level 4 without a body on the board, right? We're gonna Ice Wall and then Metal Storm the Greymon. It's the best that I could do to ensure I get one more turn right. This way, we don't die here unless there's a Blitz Omnimon. And then, because we're able to go into Garurumon in the back, although she has 3 security with the right stack of Wargreymon, X on the body, and Wargreymon X, we can still win the game next turn. And hey, there's the sauce and security, so that's one of the pieces that we're missing, right? So all we need now is a Wargreymon X, and we can still win the game next turn. Gonna go Cool Boy, get some pieces. At this point, there's not much for her to do. Just make sure that next turn she has another stack that is set up to win the game, right? Gonna go into the Greymon X. And then we're gonna get 3 memory anyway, right? Might as well hold the memory boost and all that stuff. Just ensure that her next turn is a pretty solid one. So what we need is a Wargreymon that can restand, and then Wargreymon X. So we swing for 1 restand, swing Digital into the X, which is gonna do 2 checks, and then we would get 1 more swing for game after. There have to be like no Guy Force and security though. I think Guy Force is definitely super scary. We can protect ourselves from battle, but not from things like Guy Force. I'm gonna just set up the Agu to ensure multiple bodies on the board. Try and again pick up those remaining pieces that might make a difference. Although at this point it just comes down to whether I have the correct line or not, right? And I guess what security comes down to. Gonna pass away through memory because of Davis, so we're going to promote. We do have the Garurumon X for protection, which is a good start. And we do have the Wargreymon, so we can swing, restand. We can equip the sauce. We have to use protection right away. But I don't have Wargreymon X, and that's actually gonna just be the game. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Again, do check out the deck profiles. Thank you guys so much for watching.